Good evening. I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
And good evening. I'm Wendy Ryan. Thanks for joining us. RNC events were canceled for the most part inside the forum here today, but outside, hundreds of people marched through the streets protesting the RNC convention. Our Jameson Euler is live inside the event zone. And Jameson, I understand the demonstrations have been pretty peaceful so far, right?
Yeah, good evening, Wendy. They were peaceful today, but not at all what was expected, and the weather certainly plays a part in that. This protest zone that we are in, just a couple of blocks away from the Tampa Bay Times Forum, should be packed at this hour, but as you can see here over my shoulder, it is completely empty. That doesn't mean that there weren't any protests downtown today, though. We can look at one of those. What you're looking at is a protest that was expected to draw perhaps up to 5,000 demonstrators today, but in actuality, only about 300 showed up by TPD's numbers. This was the first organized rally, though, of the RNC. It was organized by a group called the Coalition to March on the RNC. They're a big grassroots group with a big reach online. This rally, this was made up of several protest groups who say they're fighting against that 1% that you hear so much in the Occupy movement. They made their way through downtown peacefully today, easily outnumbered, though, by law enforcement who led that parade and lined the streets as well. And then just as things seemed to quiet up a bit today, there were some protesters who gathered at International Plaza late this afternoon. Our Chris Martinez is live there tonight to tell us what that demonstration was all about. Chris?
Well, Jameson, we're talking about 4 busloads of protesters that showed up here. They're focused right here at this building where there is an event tonight for RNC VIPs. A lot of delegates are going to be here, and it's being put on by a company many of those protesters actually work for, and they say they're just not being paid enough.
It's a march to raise the minimum wage, and for nearly every person you see here, the fight is personal.
We're being underappreciated, overworked, and we're being underpaid.
It's the reason Richard Hooten marches here today. He works for a factory in Houston owned by Bain Capital, a company founded by Mitt Romney. In fact, nearly every person here works for a company with ties to Bain, and these workers say every effort to increase their pay has been fought from the top down.
I've been with Carrabba's now for 10 years, and I've only made $3. $3.
That's a raise Darren Little calls laughable. The father from Michigan chanting so loudly today, his voice has already begun to fade. His message, though, is still echoed loudly by this group, who still believes someone here might still hear them.
I want them to know my story, and it's time for them to know my story, and I'm not going to stop until they know my story.
Now, Bloomin' Brands, which owns a number of restaurants like Outback Steakhouse and Carrabba's, and they are mostly owned by Bain, that company. They are the ones who are putting on this event here tonight. And so far, we have not heard anything from anybody here at the company about today's protest. In fact, the only reps we spoke with or saw today was their security team, who initially asked us to leave. Protesters told us that they can't guarantee they won't be back here to protest again sometime this week. We'll let you know. We're live tonight in Tampa. I'm Chris Martinez, ABC Action News.
Chris, thank you. And with 3 days left in the RNC and a weather forecast that seems to improve with each passing day of the RNC, Tampa police fully expect more protests and more activities in the coming days. Brendan, back to you.